All right. Hello. It is my favorite day of the week. It is Wednesday. We are back with another episode of Scaling Smarter. My name is Ali Taylor from Wisdom and Wayfinder, joined by always by my co-host, Frank Maiorana. How's it going, Frank?
It's going great, Ali. How are you, my friend?
Good. Yeah, I had to put on my glasses, my blue light blocking glasses. They're not prescription yet, but I wanted to match everyone that's on the call today.
Yeah, as eyesight fades, and it fades quickly.
Yeah.
You know what's next, Ali? You got to go this way now to really match the three of us.
No, we can't do that to him.
Oh man, maybe I could put it off. I definitely need a haircut. Maybe I'll go a little bit closer this Saturday just to test it out. Right?
That's not fair. Ever see so since we're talking about bald? Ever see the Seinfeld episode where what's her name? She breaks up with her boyfriend because he is bald to start out with, but then when she sees his license, he has a full head of hair. And then when he goes to grow his hair back, he's balding. So she breaks up with him because he's bald.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a sidetrack. Has nothing to do with running a business, but figured.
But it does have everything to do with, sometimes the vision changes. Sometimes things go a little bit differently than we expected. So I think that's an excellent tie into introducing our guest today, Michael Bruno from Cabinet IQ of Bridgewater. Mm-hmm. Frank, Frank, I think you kind of connected us. So yeah.
So I was really excited about having Mike on today because it's a little bit different than some of our other conversations. We're not talking about a particular challenge. We're really talking today about the founder's journey. And Mike has a unique story that I think is becoming more and more common on how he went from corporate world to running his own business. But yeah, so I just want to say, Mike, welcome. So happy you're here. And if you wouldn't mind, just kind of tell us a little bit about, where you are and what you're doing, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. So Michael Bruno, I live in Bridgewater, New Jersey. New Jersey boy my whole life. Really all over, kind of just stayed. Probably going to be controversial, but I'm going to call it Central Jersey. So from Union down the Toms River, I consider that Central Jersey. So I've moved pretty much all throughout there and kind of landed in Bridgewater. I was a corporate finance professional for about 25 years, working for mostly Fortune 15 companies, very, very large companies, very structured, very, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of politics. I enjoyed the work. I started off my career with Ingersoll Rand, managing their rental fleets, doing some analysis there. Graduated I took a new job over at Ernst & Young, did a little bit there, spent the next few years at Merck, managing a lot of their operations from sales to manufacturing to corporate functions. Along the way, I got my MBA in finance. Then I went on to my last role, which was in Verizon, started in the corporate functions there as well. Then my last stint was in Verizon Business Group, where I was responsible for a very large portion of the wireless business portfolio. It's about a $15 billion a year revenue. But, what really kind of, and, I'll be quite honest with you, I'm surprised I lasted in corporate America as long as I did. I'm not a very political person. I think a lot of people that know me, I'm not the one that goes out and takes the credit. And I've been told that by some corporate leaders that, you're amazing at what you do, but you have to advertise for yourself. And, honestly, if the team around me does a great job, I am letting that be known, especially if I'm just steering the ship and people are rolling up their sleeves and doing that. I have no problems. My ego doesn't have any problems kind of going out there. So, I would say I hit a point in Verizon where it's okay, I've been here about 10 years. I have really, really interesting work that I'm doing. I love the work that I'm doing. But I'm kind of at a fork in the road right now. I either have to become somebody I don't like, play the political game, and really just go that route, toe the company line, or figure out something else to do. So with the help of my wife, who saw how miserable I was becoming, I was working 50, 60, 70 plus hours. I think she saw I was miserable. She actually met somebody from the entrepreneurial source, Sean Moylan. He really kind of coached me, and he said to me, "You ever think about owning your own business?" And I was like, "No. I mean, I'm in corporate finance. Also had a CPA. Besides doing like an advisory role or a CPA, I'm like, I'm just done with this." He's like, "No, there's franchises out there." And I was like, "Oh, never even thought of that." So he presented a few franchises to me, I went through a DISC assessment and nothing really surprised there. I'm a CPA, so high on compliance, high on repeatability. I'm a problem solver. So, he gave me about a handful of companies, from travel agencies to concierge gyms, concierge health services. The last one he gave me was Cabinet IQ, and I started chuckling a little. I was like, wow. And he goes, "What?" So I pointed to a picture behind me. I didn't have this nice background at that point. I go, "You see that picture back there?" I had a handyman hang that picture. I have zero construction background. So Sean said something to me that really stuck with me. He goes, "If you could be on the business, not in the business, go meet the team and see what that's all about." And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So, and he also said to me, he's like, after doing your DISC assessment, like, you are like hand in glove with Cabinet IQ. They want to meet people like you. So I met the team, Michael Hartel, the founder and CEO, and Jacob Collins, the COO. And within like the first few seconds, like, I knew why I was in that room. They were both former corporate engineers. They were really the only ones that were kind of speaking the language that I was used to. Jacob is a Six Sigma black belt. I'm a Sigma green belt. So he's looking to do, removing waste from a process, improving stuff that's repeatable and able to continue to improve on that, using technology to disrupt the sleepy industry. I mean, I was like, okay, I could see this now. And the more and more I got to know them, their core values, make a positive impact. They told a story about how they helped this woman that needed a new kitchen. I'm just hearing all this stuff, and it's really, really resonating with me. And I'm seeing their process of what they do. And I'm like, yeah, all I have to do is I have to go home. I have to find the best kitchen designer I could find. And I think I could steer the ship. And that's where I'm at today. So I signed my franchise agreement back in April of 24. By the time I sunsetted my old job, it was around December of 24. So by the time I really got into it and I was full on selling, it was about April, May of 2025. So I'm a little over a year in this right now.
So the natural transition when you want to leave corporate would have been to be, because you always hear the word fractional. We've talked a lot about fractionals all the time here, Ali. Be a fractional CFO, fractional COO, something in that world. What made you decide to say, no, I don't want to go in that direction. I want to be a business owner. I want to be a franchisee.
Yeah, I think and I don't know if it's just a function of, it was basically a quarter century of doing that I really wanted to kind of, I don't think I was creative. So outside of my beautiful Excel models that I used to run, I really wasn't doing anything creative. And I think the other thing I wasn't really getting out of that role, and potentially even a fractional role, is, at the end of the day, I am a problem solver. And I think if I'm solving a problem for a company, and that's wonderful. But right now I have the ability to go into people's houses and really solve the heart of their home, their kitchen. So if their kitchen's not working for them, or it's something they don't like, or they want to improve flow and function, I'm able to make that positive impact now. So I think that's where I was like, okay, yeah, the easy layup would be for me to be a fractional CFO. In fact, I still get asked about that. Like, hey, on the side, do you want to do any fractional CFO work? I think a lot of my clients would be great, interested to meet you. But I think I was really looking for more of a creative outlet that really has, where I'm kind of in depth in the community. And I think that's why I said, you know what? Okay, let me create a business. Let me create some jobs. Let me hire an amazing team, and just let me kind of create a family that is really out there promoting my values and Cabinet IQ's values and solving problems.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it sounds like you really wanted more of the in-depth, sort of intimate sort of impact with the people that you're working with, as opposed to in corporate, it's just another, percentage or a line item or something like that. Like, it just kind of disappears in that way.
Yeah. And that's actually a good point. I mean, kind of where I think like I started being like, okay, let's think about other things. You know, my wife was going through some health problems, and I think when you're dealing with real world issues, and then you're in the vacuum of a corporate world where it's like, okay, there's some life and death stuff going on here. And then I go back to work and we're squabbling over, I hate to say this, but nonsense. You know, I mean, I get it. Like, to your point, it's a line item and it's a budget that really, you know, that could help a customer or somebody's bonus. But at the end of the day, it just kind of like made me view things through a different lens. And I think that's where I was like, you know what? You know, there's no playbook in life. Like, you know, I think I hope this is probably horrible to say, but, you know, I don't think finance and accounting was my first love. I think I found something that made me the least miserable, that I could go and do something with that. But I think that only lasts for so long. For me, it took 25 years to do it. Hopefully other people that might be on this journey, maybe you had that aha moment a little bit sooner. But I think going out, to your point, Ali, I'm in boardrooms, I'm in meeting rooms, I'm not seeing impact. Now I'm out of my cube, I'm in people's homes, I'm meeting great people almost on a daily basis. If I'm not meeting people, I'm out networking. I never had a network before, aside from going to the quarterly dinners that you were forced to kind of go through and stuff like that. You're seeing the same people that worked and you see them at an evening. Now I try to get involved in at least 3 networking events a week, if not more, whether they be early in the morning and late at night. So I think it just kind of like really gave me a spark that I haven't felt in a very long time.
You know what's cool, Michael, is you can kind of hear the excitement in your voice.
Yeah, right? I appreciate that.
You're talking about that. But like, what's the one piece of taking over and running this franchise that you're like, holy crap, I didn't think I'd enjoy this as much as I do. I didn't think I'd get as much fulfillment, because you kind of nailed it. There's a lot of people out there that are doing jobs because that's what they do. I got an accounting degree, so I'm an accountant. I don't hate it, but I have a family I want to take care of. It's important. I'm doing what I need to do, but there's no real passion. Mm-hmm. Like I said, kind of going back. So like, what surprised you that you're like, holy cow, I really enjoy this?
Yeah, I think what really enjoyed it was when, like, you know, so I'll give you a recent example. So we're working on a kitchen project. Client started off with a really, really rough time. So if you're familiar with the Wren situation, they designed a kitchen with Wren. Wren literally went out of business and took their money, and basically, luckily they just lost their deposit, but they didn't have a kitchen. They were supposed to get it that day. Wren said, oh, guess what? We're not delivering your kitchen and we're closing up shop. So they came to me with like a big problem. Like, hey, I have no kitchen right now, right? At the end of the day, like, this is what we're trying to do. And I think coming in there, and I will be full disclosure, this was not an easy project. I felt so bad for these people. It was literally a case study of what could have gone wrong, has gone wrong, between delays and mishaps from shipping from the factory. But at the end of the day, I went to see them last week. Their kitchen's not done yet. And just the positivity where it's like, wow, like, thank you so much for helping us out. Like, that just means so much to me that I was able to help those customers. So I think that was really, I wasn't expecting it to be as emotional as it was. I've gotten to know people, clients, they're friends of ours. So yeah, I think it's just like, I wasn't anticipating enjoying that part so much.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
No, and it's kind of funny. Like you talk about on your screen, it says shaping the heart of your home. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is, right? Families, most serious conversations in the family and the greatest moments are usually shared in the kitchen, which is pretty cool. That's
100% agree. And that's what we try to do is, when we go into clients' houses, I don't like asking like probing questions, but like, hey, like, what goes on in here? Like, tell me what an evening looks like. And it's like, so I was at a client's house the other day. I got there at 4:30. By 4:45, 4 energetic kids are running around. They're very interested. They have a vested attitude in making this kitchen better. And it's just like seeing that stuff is just like, and really coming in there and saying like, wow, if I get this kitchen job, I'm going to have such a positive impact on this family for many, many years to come. And there's, at the end of the day, we're all trying to make money and we're all trying to just do what's best, but you can't put a price tag on that. Just helping out a family like that.
That's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Ali, did you have a question? Because I have one follow up from there. If you don't.
No, I'm just listening. Like it really just hearing the yeah, what popped into my head when we were just talking about the family with the 4 kids. I'm just thinking, that's legacy, right?
Yeah.
About the stories that are going to be told, around that kitchen, the meals that are going to be made, and the conversations that are going to be had, and as those kids grow up and then they find their own spouses and have their own kids, like there's just like that legacy, that weight to what it is that you're doing. And I think, that's often what's missing from a lot of the work that people are doing. It's just that sense of like, there's something more here than just the widgets that we're making, the services that we're providing, the inputs, the outputs, the dollars, and all that stuff. It really sounds like you found that fulfillment beyond regular corporate.
Yeah, I have. And one of the core values of Cabinet IQ is be a constant student. I mean, my kitchen designer Giovanni and my operations manager Nelson, I learn from them every day. I lean on them. I allow them to kind of almost, we have the parameters of what we need to do, but I really do. And maybe this comes from my corporate ownership, where I'm sorry, in my corporate world, where it's like I think you should have an ownership stake in what you're doing, right? So I do allow my team to make some decisions. I'm not involved, in every little thing, and I want them to go out and learn. And are we going to make mistakes? Sure. But you know what? Just be proactive. Everybody makes mistakes. I think one of the worst things I see in especially like the construction industry is people just make mistakes, or they don't communicate, and they just don't own up to it. I think as soon as we make a mistake, own up to it, 9 times out of 10, the client's going to be like, "Oh yeah, no worries." But I think just empowering my team is also just helping me grow as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw the comment, but Michael
I did.
Nelson. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Nelson. I really appreciate it.
That's great. That's awesome. Perfect timing too.
Yes.
It's not planned. So it was just funny. So real quick. So like you're starting something new. You're going into an industry that's completely foreign. What was one area that you expected to be a giant hurdle that actually wasn't? Because I think a lot of times people put limitations on themselves. Like, I can't do this because I don't know this or I don't know that.
Yeah.
What was an area where you're like, I don't know this, I'm nervous, this is going to be a problem, and it ended up not being?
So I guess in corporate, we're all salespeople, right? But I don't feel like I've ever had to sell to an end client before. Like I'm either selling a budget or I'm selling something else in corporate, or I'm selling a presentation. I think we all have that imposter syndrome, especially when we're starting to do something new. So I think the first time I went through my sales process, I was stuttering. I was like sweating. I mean, I felt kind of really bad for the person that was in front of me because, and obviously it didn't go well. But you know what? You brush yourself off and be like, you know what did I do? What did I do wrong? What could I fix? I think as I got my repetitions in, I was surprised because what I did was, I think, going into it and saying I'm selling somebody a kitchen early on, that was the wrong way for me. It's not who I am. It's not who I'm going to be. When I started going into it, like, let's solve a problem, that's when I had my aha. Okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm good at. This is what I could talk to. Do I have every design answer? No. If a client says to me, I want to break down this wall, is it load bearing? I have no problem saying, you know what? I honestly don't know, but I have a phone full of general contractors I can have in here. Sometimes they're even around the corner where I can say, hey, do you mind if I get somebody in here? So I think, just coming at that from that problem solving mentality, that's where I was like, okay, I can sell kitchens if I follow that kind of path.
Well, it's good you don't give just a yes to that load bearing wall. Go for it. See what happens. I love the idea.
Yeah, so I actually got feedback. I got feedback from another client lately, and she told me, she's like, you were the first person that told me what I wanted to do could potentially not be done and come up with a solution around it. Yes. That's the last thing I want to do is yes somebody, because that's when problems are going to go wrong. So again, coming back to that communication, if we're open and honest in the beginning and we build up that rapport where it's like, I'm not trying to sell you like a kitchen, or if you give me like a $50,000 budget, I'm not going to come in at $49,999 and say, oh, I'm within budget, So, what I like to do is find out where their comfort zone is and just say, hey, listen, if we design a kitchen with all the bells and whistles, yeah, we might be at the top end of your budget. However, if we're willing to make some design concessions or in-cabinet convenience concessions, but still maintain the flow and the function of your kitchen, we don't have to hit that ceiling. And that's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
You mentioned something earlier when you talk about like you started like this you're selling, right? And selling's uncomfortable. Yeah. And part of that process is often networking actually helps get you through that. Talk about the impact that true networking has had on your business and how you kind of got out of your comfort zone there.
Yeah. So when I was down in training, our CEO, Michael Hartel, mentioned BNI, Business Network International. Never heard of it. I think a lot of people in the corporate world's never heard of it before. I went into a BNI chapter, and that I felt like it was really a powerful tool because you have to sell every week. You get either 30 or 60 seconds to stand up, and you have to give, a weekly presentation, right, of what you're trying to do. And it's got to be succinct, and it's got to hit home, and it's got to have a direct ask to it. Like, hey, I'm looking to meet custom home builders in the Scotch Plains area. If anybody knows Matt Smith at XYZ Custom Home Builders, I'd appreciate. So it really helped me hone that down. Not to mention the once a quarter or twice a year 10-minute presentations you get to do. I almost use these networking opportunities as a platform to hone my skills in almost a safe space. I could say, okay, I looked around the room. What I was saying, it didn't really work here. Maybe I'm doing something like that when I'm in a sales call and not realizing it. So let me hone that. So I think networking is great. I'm also the member of Metropolitan Builders and Contractors Association of New Jersey. Frank, I know we're also a member of the B Shore Network, and David and Peter are awesome there. Again, a lot of mentorship around that room. Networking is critical to what I'm doing right now.
And what would you recommend to a college? Like, how would you recommend a college, someone else that's within your shoes starting out? Like, have you learned from the networking that you failed at that you might make a recommendation?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a realization I had, not too long ago, and I'm glad I had this, kind of this epiphany moment. Coming into the end of 2025, my pipeline looked amazing. Like I was like, oh my God, I have so much in the pipeline. Then what happens, right? I'm getting busier. I'm getting pulled in a lot of different directions. Let me skip this meeting. Let me put a sub in BNI there. You know what? I saw the people at Metropolitan. Let me skip this one. So come January, the winter comes, right? And it's freezing and nobody wants me in my house. No builders are calling me. I'm like, I'm calling up builders. They're like, you know what? We're slow as well. Then the, Iran war happens and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh man, my pipeline looks so strong, but now here I am in February and the phone's barely ringing and stuff like that. And I think it's easy to blame those outside forces. However, I said to myself, you know what? I'm also not networking. So yeah, maybe some of those outside forces were at play. But you know what? I also did not leave it all out there on the field. There were days when it was cold and I had to be in BNI at 7:00 and I'm like, you know what? I'm sick. I'm not going to that. Or there was a late meeting up in the north end of Morris County at a Metropolitan event or another networking event. And I'm like, you know what? I just saw some of those people. Let me skip that. But so I said to myself, no, my networking, me going out there, shaking hands, meeting people, showing people that I'm willing to show up. How are these people supposed to recommend me if they don't see me? So I made a conscious effort starting in March to really get out there and really up my networking game. And I'm already starting to see the results of that. So my advice would be get out there. If someone's willing to listen to you, talk. I mean, again, don't go in and thinking networking is the long game. It's planting seeds. And it's really, if you're going in this thinking, I'm going to show up to BNI and there's 30 people, I'm expecting 30 leads by the time I leave there. That's not what it's all about. I mean, I always go into any one-to-one that I have with people, very rarely, unless it's asked of me, I ask what I need. But always what I try to do is, whether it's something that I need personally or somebody in my network that I know, I try to leave there with something that I could give value to that person I'm meeting with.
Yeah. We had Dave Facone on, and he kind of echoed that. He talked about consistency in relationships, showing up, be a familiar face, and then obviously the relationships come from that. So
yeah.
And he also made a reference of, right, like sometimes when you have those meetings and you're like, oh no, I have a client call, at the same time as my networking meeting, and it's like, well, if you had another client at the same time, like, if this situation was different, if you had a client that wants to meet at another time and then another client comes in, you wouldn't reschedule the first client. So why would you do that with your networking?
Yep.
Yeah. And I also had a one-on-one with our director consultant for BNI, Arnie Solkin, and he said to me point blank, because I was telling him the story, and he's like, are you in control of your calendar? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, when you're in the corporate world, you don't have control of your calendar. Your boss wants you to be somewhere at 9, and maybe your business partner wants to meet you at 9. You have to kind of do what your boss wants. But at the end of the day, it's up to us as business owners to say, you know what? From 7 to 9, I'm going to block this time out, and that's my BNI. When another networking comes up, put it in your calendar, block an hour before, an hour after, because honestly, the other thing I was doing that I think I learned is when BNI is 7 to 8:30, what does everybody do? They show up at 7 o'clock. I'm making it purposeful now, and any networking I go to at least show up at 15 minutes early. And that 15 minutes goes like that, because that's when you could set up time to have one-to-ones with people, or just say like, hey, I referred you. How did that work out? Oh, no, you never heard back from that guy. Let me give them a call after this. So it gives you that also extra time to really put the reps in to help it, help your network out.
Yeah. I love that point, Mike. I love it. I love the point of being there, getting there early, being prepared, giving yourself more opportunity to have conversations. I love that point, because a lot of times what people do is they'll go to your point, they'll go to a networking event. It starts at 5, they get there at 5:15. It's supposed to end at 7. They leave at 6:30.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I completely, and you have to make the choice to do that, because because naturally, I've worked an entire day. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've dealt with things. I do enjoy these people. I want to see them, but I want to get home and see my kid. I want to get home and have dinner. There's a new episode of something coming on that I can go watch. Like something. Like there's so many things just pulling you away. And but I love that thought.
Yeah. And the other thing I also sorry, go ahead, Ollie.
Sorry, I was saying when season 3 of Paradise comes, that's when
yes, Ollie, I'm there.
And I'll be right there with you.
I'm with you. I can't wait for that. That's good.
Yeah, I'll say the one other piece that I'm still trying to figure out. So if anybody out there has a little bit of words of wisdom, I'd be happy to hear it. I think the one thing I'm trying to do is just have some me time, to where I either could exercise a little bit more or get out and walk. I feel like, and it's very important. Like I just went through some personal coaching with Jesse Elder at the Time Piercer, and he really taught me about the importance of having your own time. And I used to be like a walker. Like I just used to love going out in nature and just leaving the earbuds home and just feeling the breeze and seeing the wildlife and touching that. But at the end of the day, it's really hard for me right now. It's like, oh man, I have that client that sounds like it's a big lead. Let me just sit back and call this client. And then that leads to another client calling, or a fire drill or something like that. So one of the things I'm trying to work with that I would give advice is really try to manage your time a little better, so you do have that hour to at least manage either your own calendar, your personal life, or just taking care of yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And I would echo what I forgot the gentleman's name, but the one who asked you, are you in control of your calendar?
Yeah.
That's like the first thing. And this is something that I've worked on for myself, but I've also coached and consulted with other people to do, is literally the first thing that you want to do for your calendar is put in that me time. So if it's if you want to schedule that time for, just being able to walk, clear your head, go to the gym, take care of yourself, schedule that in your calendar first, and then build everything else around it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm starting to do now. I am an early riser, so I feel like that's perfect for me. So, so I think I am starting to do that a little bit more. I just need to be better at it. But that's my one takeaway right now.
And to your point, you treat that the same way you treat a client call.
Yes.
You put importance around it. You make these things important, these time blocks important, and you live by them. They're going to pay off in the long run. Like you're like, hey, I need to have a meeting. Well, no, that's my gym time. That's my whatever that time is. We can figure it out. Like most things can be moved, are flexible. Most things don't have to happen the exact time someone's requesting.
Yeah, and to that point, it's like, are you really of value to your client at that point? Like if your mind's spinning in a million different directions and you're going into a meeting and you're not showing up with the smile and that problem-solving attitude, where your mind's like, you're literally using a 15-minute drive to kind of unwind, you're not doing your client service either. So, and I think I've all been in there where it's just like, you're going through the motions almost. And I don't know if it's as far as disassociating, but you kind of know internally, like, I'm not 100% present right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if we're at 95%, that's not good enough.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
What would you say is the hardest thing that you had to unlearn, specifically going from corporate to franchise owner?
I would say perfection. I think in the corporate world, like, perfection is mandatory. Now, in kitchen design and going in somebody's home, that needs to be buttoned up. But I think as far as like what goes on behind the scenes, like a lot of the day-to-day stuff, sometimes good enough is enough. You don't have to. And I think my team would say this, like, I'll give you like a perfect example. Like, every time we do like a kitchen project, we do like to give a nice closing gift to the client. Sometimes I would obsess over that gift. Like, it would be like, oh my God, like, it's like 95% there, but what else do I need to do? And meanwhile, it's been 3 weeks. I should have seen this client 3 weeks ago. So it's just stuff like that. Whether it's just be like, you know what, just sometimes you just have to say it's good enough, it works, and you just move on. I'm still going through that right now, but like, I think just, there's some stuff in my corporate job that I took that I think is very good, but I think that like constant go, make it perfect, go from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night. Like, I am still trying to unwind some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's not easy. It's not, especially with on the entrepreneurial side, especially if you get hooked into a lot of the social media stuff and the hustle culture, grind culture aspect, which was great. Like when I was leaving my last corporate job, I used to listen to Gary V on repeat, to constantly motivate myself to, once I'm done with my 9 to 5, then I'm going to work on my 5 to 9 so I can get out of my 9 to 5 and the whole thing, and there is a way that you can get stuck in that loop and get trapped in it. But it sounds like you've worked your way out of it and are working.
I don't know about that, but I was answering emails probably till about 10:30 last night, and it's funny. Like, you ask, like, Copilot or ChatGPT, it's like, yeah, you might not want to send this email right now. It's a little bit outside where you're kind of encroaching, but I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, to me, it's like, oh, it's an email, it'll sit there, that's okay. But at the end of the day, too, I mean, like, does that have a cost also? Like, am I saying to my client, hey, and I probably shouldn't say this, but, I think as a boutique kind of white glove service that we offer, I've been told you've got the job because you picked up the phone on a Sunday. You were able to come out to me on a Sunday, but am I not setting proper boundaries if a client sees me, oh my God, this guy's up at 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry, 11:30 at night. If I message him at 11:47 p.m., I'm expecting an answer from him. So I think I do need to kind of wind some of that back down.
So, what's funny is my wife gives great advice on that. Like, if you're outside of the hours, right? If the answer doesn't have to be immediate, right? The answer does not have to be, if it's not like it's 10 o'clock and I need to know by 11 o'clock, right? And the answer is, like, schedule that email to go back out.
Yeah.
If you need to work it, do what you got to do. Schedule the email to hit their inbox at 8:30, 9 o'clock. Maybe they feel like you're the first person that they're thinking about. If it's after hours and you get that email, once again, if it doesn't need to be replied to right away, schedule it. And I've found some benefit in that, because you're able to you're able to give the response and the support that they're looking for, but you're not going down that line of making it feel like you're at their beck and call every second.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have. If it's urgent, answer. 100%. Answer it real time. But most of the time, once again, it's not. So
Yes, I think that's really, really great advice. And I think to that point, it's, if you're kind of in the day and it is a little bit later and you're able to answer that question, then, sometimes sleeping on it, you might be like, oh, what was I going to do there? So I think I'm going to take that, Frank. I think I'm going to draft the email, just do a schedule send for 8:30 the next day. I really do like that. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Send a thank you to Kathleen Maiorana.
I also find what helps is just saying like, hey, I don't have an answer for that right now, but I'll get back to you at tomorrow. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think it's more about letting the customer know that they're seen, that they're heard, that they're valued. Right. I don't necessarily have to have you don't necessarily have to have the answer that they're looking for, but just know that like it's important to them. Like they're important to you. Right.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the bad habits I am trying to unwind. I mean, there's times in the corporate world where it's like, everybody has a phone or a laptop now where you could be at quarter end or month end or year end, and questions are coming in and you're expected to have those answers like that. Yep. So I think it's like I'm trying to learn, like, okay, there's kind of a fine line between I want to be open in my communication and I want to be forthcoming, but at the same time, there are some boundaries that I need to do. So again, it's a work in progress. Yeah, I'm getting there, and I think helping with the with the email, I think that's really, really good advice. So thank you again.
Maybe we should have Kathleen on as a guest.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would feel about that, Frank.
No, unwinding the corporate bad habits.
It would work. She does. She's an event producer, so she.
Oh wow.
She's a lot. She would have a lot to add. She said she runs a small business every time she has an event. So.
Oh, that's funny.
But I also think it'd just be interesting to kind of hear like what the spouses of entrepreneurs and business owners kind of go through. So maybe we'll look into that sometime.
Well, that's that's an interesting. So when you and your wife were talking, that's a great segue, Ali. So when you and your wife were talking about that, right? Was she pushing you? I know she was pushing you to do something different, but was she pushing you to own your own business or do something like that? Or was that something like you came together or you came to me like, hey, hon, I got this idea.
So actually it was kind of interesting. So I think my wife saw that I was just spiraling. Like I was shutting down. I was always in work. I mean, I think, dealing with some of her health problems that she had in the past, I think I did use work as a crutch sometimes, so, and I think as she started getting better and her health started taking an uptick, I think she saw like I kept following bad habits and kept going like down and down and down, immersing myself more and more and more and everything like that. So, when I think she kind of initially told me, hey, I'm talking to this entrepreneurial coach. I think she was kind of doing a reconnaissance mission for me almost, So, and I think she's like, hey, have you kind of thought about this? And again, like, there's no playbook. Like, I never thought in a million years I'd be a business owner. Like, I just thought I was going to go work for 30, 35, probably 40 years, retire, maybe do some fractional CFO work or bookkeeping or something like that. I never thought it was going to be this, but my wife is very different from me. Now, I will say in full disclosure, my wife does have that aspiration for the C-suite. Like she loves her job. She's in human resources. She loves what she's doing. So I think I think she wanted me to also have that same passion that she has. Yeah. And I really do applaud her for like really recognizing that. And also just having like, you know, I think it just shows you how strong of a relationship we have, that she was able to be like that, you know, that was some tough love there that I had to take, you know, like, hey,
Yeah.
like, you're miserable and I'm feeling it, you know? So I was like, oh,
So
I
true.
didn't even realize. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. So, you know, the fact that we have like that form of communication, like you know, again, that's just invaluable. And I just, there's not a day that goes by that I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, kind of wrapping up, coming up towards the end here. With that, you know, Ali and I always kind of ask you a couple of things. Like, one, what's your final thought, final message to, you know, entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs that want to kind of follow in your shoes? And then after that, how can we find you?
I'm sorry, what was that second part, please?
How can we find you?
Okay, excellent. So yeah, so I would think for budding entrepreneurs, so you know, I think with AI, there's going to be more and more people with my story. I think when we all first heard about like AI, we were like, oh God, it's coming for the Starbucks workers, it's coming for the McDonald's workers, the truck drivers. I did not see that even a few years ago. I saw this coming for white collar jobs. Anything that looks at a lot of data and could take the human element out, I knew my job was going to be gone in probably 10 years. Little did I know it probably is even sooner than that now. So what I would suggest people to do is, you know, really try to find your passion. You know, again, I did not know kitchen design would be a passion of mine, but just have an open mind. I think going to work a job, you know, when you're young, get your feet wet, know enough to be dangerous, and then don't be afraid to take risks. In grad school, I had an entrepreneurial guest speaker come into one of our classes. And he basically told me, and I was mad. I almost walked out. And he's like, you know what? If you are 29 years old and you're not an entrepreneur yet, it's too late for you. By that time, you got a wife, you got a kid, you got a mortgage, blah, 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 blah. I think that was a little extreme, but like that always kind of stuck with me. It's like, you know what? I'm always risk adverse. And maybe this is the time I really do need to invest in myself. So again, go out there, find out what you like, dip your toe in stuff. I mean, there's a lot of education like YouTube, all this other stuff. I think LinkedIn is great. Some of these entrepreneurial coaches are great. Just get on their calendar and just talk to them and just see what options are out there. Because again, if you would have told me 3 years ago this is where I would have been, I would have laughed in your face and told you were nuts. I'd be like, no, I'm still going to be in my cube, miserable with my 3 Excel screens, and I'm modeling 3 different things. I would have been like, yeah, and I'm okay, you know. But I never would have thought I would have impacted people and just got to know some amazing people. And I'm just thankful for that.
That's beautiful. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, and where to find me? cabinetiq.com/Bridgewater. And then you could also find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Michael Bruno, and then on Instagram, Cabinet IQ, and then also Michael Bruno Kitchen and Bath. That's basically how you can find me.
Nice. Okay, I'll be sure to link all of that in the show notes so people can click on it and find you directly.
Excellent, appreciate it.
Yeah. No, we appreciate you. This is great, man. I
had a great time. Yeah. First time ever doing something like this, you know. So.
No way.
No, seriously. Yeah. So, no, I appreciate the invite. You know, anybody wants to reach out to me with any questions, or you just want to talk about, you know, battle scars or stories, or if I can help anybody out in any way, I could even put you my Calendly link to you. Please feel free to reach out to me.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you, Doug.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Here's another great one from Nelson. My sales mentor always said, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nelson. Couldn't say that any better myself.
Awesome.
Yeah, we really appreciate all of our guests for viewing and commenting. That always it's always nice to see the engagement and stuff coming through. So thank you for doing that. And we hope that you will come back for our next conversation with Michael Haynes from Go to Excel. He's in New Zealand of all places. So we're going international next week.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Good luck with that.
Little pit bull action, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. There we go. Fantastic. All right. Well,
if you get some shades, now you can do pit bull for Halloween.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. All right, guys. Thank you.
Excellent.
So much.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.